not turn up empty. They don't know where the galaxies came from, and it was 2004. How many of you have just heard that they proved the Big Bang? You just heard it. How many of you know people who believe the Big Bang? Yeah, there you go. Everybody thinks they proved it, but they didn't. In 2004, just 3 years ago, American Scientist magazine admitted we don't know how the universe started. So that one's out. How about how life got started? Nobody knows how a mixture of lifeless chemicals spontaneously organized themselves into the first living cell. There's a picture of a cell right over on the wall there that's just like the one I've got up here. Paul Davies, who's quoted in National Geographic all the time, he said this in 2003, just 4 years ago in New Scientist magazine. Nobody knows how the first cell got started. Elijah?
We had this magazine in social studies, and the scientists were trying to put the cell together.
That's just last month, right? Very new. They say that they're trying, but they've never been able to do it. And if they do it, it just proves it takes a bunch of scientists or God. It takes somebody with a brain. Life isn't going to just happen in the ocean like the evolutionists think it did. Well, the origin of life thing is out then. Well, how about the origin of all the different kinds of living things from the first living thing, like say from an amoeba? How about that? The formation of species has long represented one of the most central, yet also one of the most elusive subjects in evolutionary biology. Elusive means it gets away from you, like an elusive prey, that the hunter is looking for. It's a very elusive, panther. It gets away from you. So they're saying, I think the formation of species is the central idea in evolution because it's the title of Darwin's book. How many of you have heard of the book, The Origin of the Species? How many of you have ever heard of that before? The Origin of the Species. Okay, that's the name of Darwin's book on evolution, and that's the central theory of evolution. So here they're saying that how new species got originated or formed is elusive in 1994, and they still don't know how new species could get started. So that one's out too. So how are they doing on these? Bad. Yep. Which is the same thing as not so good. Well, and this is their theory, that an amoeba sort of thing turned into fish, amphibians, reptiles, and people. But that same amphibian also turned into lobsters and dragonflies and redwood trees and ferns, and that we are all related that way. That's what evolution says. Isn't it sad how some people's grip on their lives is so precarious that they'll embrace any preposterous delusion rather than face an occasional bleak truth? Like a bleak truth that evolution's just not right? People hang on to evolution very, very much, and they don't want to give it up. They don't want to believe in God. This scientist here won the Nobel Prize in 1965. He helped invent the atomic bomb back in the 1940s, and he also was the scientist who discovered why the space shuttle blew up with 7 astronauts on board in the 1980s. Dr. Feynman said this about science. Science is a long history of learning how not to fool ourselves. He says science is learning to not fool ourselves. I think evolutionists are fooling themselves. They admit sometimes that they haven't got the Big Bang figured out, they haven't got how life got started figured out, they haven't got all this stuff figured out, but they still believe in evolution anyway. That's faith. I think that's faith, not creation. I think that evolution is faith, and they're fooling themselves. Okay, so now, that's what I wanted to do to kind of get your mind started and to show you a couple of things as to why, as to why, I did it again. See, genius thing. Now I'm sitting on my microphone cord too. Oh well, just goes to show you being a genius doesn't mean you don't do stupid things from time to time. Being a scientist doesn't mean that you are not going to believe something stupid. Can a smart person believe a stupid thing? Sure. How many of you here are reasonably smart? Pretty smart. Pretty smart. You're okay smart. Okay. Stop that. Stop it. Anthony's smart. You're Anthony. No. You're Anthony. Yes, okay. Okay, how many of you smart people ever believed a stupid thing once? You believed something that was stupid. Okay, there you go. Evolutionists are not stupid. They're smart people, but they do believe a stupid thing, and they won't listen. when you try to convince them.